Hello, and here we are for Lunch with the Soul, everybody. I'm Melissa Wilson. Happy to welcome you here today. I have some incredible guests to bring in for this conversation today because we all go through tough times in life. Especially, it seems like things are going really good and then something really bad happens and you're trying to figure out how to make it all happen. Well, I have an incredible mom who can probably give you some pretty good advice. So without further waiting, let's bring up Satoya Babineau and her beautiful, precious daughter. Okay, let's lift her beautiful face up and see if we can see her above your name. There we go. Introduce us to your precious girl.
Hi, this is Jolie Babineau, and she's 1. She'll be 2 in July.
And she is one strong young lady. So let's get this conversation going. And in just a moment, I'm going to bring in a doctor from Memorial Hermann who has done so much for your family and made such a difference. So let's first of all talk about what your daughter was diagnosed with. This all started in November with a virus. It just seemed like a typical stomach bug, right?
Yes, so she was sent home from school with a stomach virus, and we took her to urgent care. We did everything parents would do. We took her to urgent care, took her to follow up with her pediatrician, and everyone kept saying, "Oh, she's fine. She'll recover. She'll recover." But I kept noticing that she was regressing. She stopped walking. She stopped eating. She stopped talking. So I called her pediatrician, who's actually on vacation, and she advised me to go to the emergency room, and that's where we were able to get her formal diagnosis.
All right. And it's a condition that is hard for a lot of people to even say or to understand. So we are going to bring in your doctor who's joining us live this morning. Thank you for being here. Dr. Stacy Hall from TIRR Memorial Hermann, also UT Health. You have done a lot for this family. Let's talk about that diagnosis. You were part of that team who figured out what was going on with this child. What did you all diagnose her with and explain what that is?
Yeah, so our wonderful neurology team at Children's Memorial Hermann diagnosed Jolie with Guillain-Barre syndrome. And this is an autoimmune illness where the body essentially attacks its own peripheral nerves. It essentially paralyzes you. And it is typically preceded by a viral infection. And like JJ's mom indicated, we do think that that viral gastroenteritis kind of triggered this whole cascade.
And so if you think about your body attacking itself after a virus, it seems like this could be something that it could happen to anybody. Is there anybody who's more susceptible for something like this? It's very rare in young children.
Yes, so actually, it's extremely rare in children under the age of 2. And when we're talking about kids 18 and under, it's about 1 in 100,000 cases. So very rare.
And that's what's so hard, Satoya, for a mom when you're going, and I'm sure you can't help but question, why me? Why my precious baby, right? Like that's a hard thing to take.
Yeah, I said that every day. I kept asking why, why her? I said, God, just let it happen to me. Like because I could explain what was going on. We were just going off facial expressions and body motions for her. So it was very difficult to understand, what she was feeling, but we did know that she was in pain.
When you were going through those why us things, why my baby, how did you keep up your faith and get through those really hard times? Because there were days when you didn't know what was going on with her and she wasn't able to swallow anymore and not even able to lift her head off the pillow. She couldn't lift her arm. She, again, basically became paralyzed. That's hard to see your precious, innocent baby going through that.
Yes, I definitely reached out to friends and family. My sister flew in, and we just prayed every day. We just asked God, to cover her. We lost my mother-in-law back in December of 2020 to COVID, so I just kept, saying, God, I know you have my angel up there. Help us to get through this. Please just guide us to get through this. But we made it. Faith, definitely prayer, and I'm just thankful for the wonderful doctors and their abilities to be able to help us through this.
I'm going to show some pictures of this adorable little girl. She's just so happy. Let's talk about how you explain I mean, with a 1-year-old, there's not a whole lot of reasoning because how do you help her understand what's going on as you go? We see her right here in a hospital bed. There's really not much you can say other than just to be a loving mom, right? How did you negotiate and navigate that, so to speak?
So I basically never left her. I was basically the constant that was there. Even with her therapies, I make sure that I'm the person that takes her, because we know that, we're going to go in and this is going to happen. Now with her therapies, I think she's a little bit more comfortable. We've been there for probably about 5 weeks now. So she knows, she's going to be doing physical therapy first, and then we're going to move into speech. So just trying to be consistent. She's really good about schedules. So her therapy is the same day every week. So just kind of building on that, because we're at the stage where she is rebellious, but we are, consistency kind of helps out with that.
That's huge. And I understand that your medical team there at TIRR did a really good job of playing with her first. Dr. Hall, how does that work in order to really make these young ones feel more comfortable with these complete strangers? Again, Mom was just talking about that age. That's tough when they're scared of everybody, but yet they have to work closely with them day in and day out.
Yeah, it is such a challenge, but we have such a wonderful, talented therapy team at our acute inpatient rehab unit at TIRR, and they worked beautifully with her. And JJ worked so hard. She did a wonderful job.
Love being able to see her. Just it seems like a smile on her face most of the time. So that's a strong, powerful team who's able to help out in that situation. So let's talk more about that therapy. So we're talking, she had a little bit, tell us a little bit about the IVIG therapy she had, and then 3 weeks in TIRR Memorial Hermann, where you guys stayed there day in and day out.
Yeah, so JJ received 5 doses of IVIG therapy while she was at Children's Memorial Hermann, and that's when we first started to see some progress. And she received therapy while she was at Children's Memorial Hermann, and then once she was medically stable, she transitioned to acute inpatient rehab at TIRR, where she spent 3 weeks. She did 3 to 5 hours of therapy every day.
That is so much work. How did you handle all of that as the mom of having to be there day in, day out and witness your baby who couldn't even hardly move? Were you seeing baby steps? Did that help you? Did that progress help you? What got you through those days?
Yeah, I think the first day we arrived, it was very aggressive. They were like, "Mom, you unpack. We're starting therapy," and I'm like, "Okay." So they went ahead and they were basically doing their assessments, kind of working with her, just seeing where she was at for themselves, and then they began the next day. We received a schedule every morning. We started at 9. We didn't end until 2. They gave her an hour for lunch. So it was very aggressive, but they did really well. Initially, I was included in sessions to kind of get her to warm up to them, and once she was comfortable with them, they were taking her basically on their own to do therapy, because we realized that she was a lot less combative when I wasn't in the room. So we they were great. But like for the first week or so, I was involved in all the sessions, and then we slowly started to allow me to leave like 30 minutes in so that they can kind of build that rapport with her.
But it doesn't end there after that 3 weeks. So now you're still going back. How often and what does that treatment look like?
Yeah, so we're at Kirby Glen, the outpatient rehab. She goes every Monday, and she receives speech and physical therapy there, and she'll begin occupational therapy also with them in April.
Talk a little bit about how this condition affected how she eats and how she swallows. You found out about a silent asphyxiation. You didn't even know what was going on. That had to be so scary to find out about.
Yeah, so I noticed that she was coughing during meal times, and we had brought in a high chair to kind of help her to sit up when she was eating. And we still noticed that it was going on. So I brought it to the attention of a doctor there. They did a swallow study, and they realized that she was silently asphyxiating on thin liquids. So she was placed on honey thick liquids to kind of help her to swallow and not choke, but she was choking silently. So you didn't know it was happening unless like you looked like into her eyes. You can kind of see like the panic look. So,
and Dr. Hall, how long would something like that last? Is there any way to say, I know that she's able to eat more and more and doing better now, but is there an idea that you follow with patients, or are they all pretty much different of how they recover?
Yeah, so all of our patients are very different in their recovery. And to be honest, for Jolie, I would have anticipated her recovery to be even more slow because she had a more severe form of the illness. But she actually made pretty rapid progress when she came to acute inpatient rehabilitation. And we were able to remove that NG tube pretty quickly for her.
That has to be incredible, even just as part of the medical team, right? I'm sure you get close to these families because you end up spending so much time with them.
Yes, definitely. And I know you got to meet Jolie. She's so sweet and adorable and a little sassy.
I want to bring Mama in on that. That's got to feel good though, because sassiness is
Yes.
normalcy, right?
We're very happy to see her sass back. We're very happy to hear her, telling us no, and the little morning standoffs. We're excited to see that because that is normal during, like that's a normal, for this age group. So yeah, I'm excited for it to be back. When she was quiet, it was very concerning.
Well, I'm showing some comments from some of our Fox 26 viewers. I'm seeing lots of praying hands. We've got Isaiah 53:5 here from Tony. Tony also saying Jolie is healed in the name of Jesus Christ. I love that. And just look at you getting some good support. Hey, you've even got some prayers coming in from Mississippi. We're not going to complain about that, are we?
No.
Especially since you said prayer really got you through. And there are medical studies that show that prayer can truly make a difference in the recovery of patients. Did that bring you peace after those sessions you talked about? We have one for here from Anne just saying, believe in Jesus, please. All is well. Jesus, go, y'all. I love that positivity.
Yes, it's very easy to go down a downward spiral, especially when they gave me the literature on the condition and, reading up on it and seeing how slow the prognosis, can be and how slow recovery can be. And I have another child. I mean, I have a 3-year-old also. So just kind of, getting them to adapt to what, our new normal is going to be. So I definitely prayed and prayer definitely got me through because it's very easy to go down a spiral.
Yeah. Joyce is saying God is good. For people who don't understand that, how did your faith come about? Is it something that you grew up with, or is it something that you found later in life? How did that come about for you as a mom?
Yeah, I've always thank you. I've always had a strong faith. It's just gotten stronger as I got married and had kids. I realized that I'm not in control. Kids will quickly show you that you're not in control. So definitely, it's something that's been lifelong. It's definitely gotten stronger post children though.
Yeah, and Cal just saying here, amen. I mean, Tony's saying again, stay strong, mom. I love the support. I really feel like when you have other people just, giving you positive vibes too, that has to help lift you up. What does she like to do? She is so absolutely adorable. Tell me what she does when she's not doing all of her therapy.
She likes to jump on the trampoline. That's something that she's really into. And she's back to being like a full-time eater. Jolie has been an eater since she was born. So she's back to stealing food off her sister's plate, off of my plate. And that's really her favorite pastime, taking things that don't belong to her.
Oh, I love that so much. Now, can you make her, should she stand up by chance
Yes.
so we can see that beautiful face a little more? I know it's hard, Mama. There she is. She's got that beautiful dress on.
Stuff all over her face too now.
We have to see that beautiful face. Look at that.
Can you say hi?
Can you say hi to everyone?
Yes.
We have some prayers coming in from California for you, beautiful girl. And all over the country, it looks like. And so let's talk about how she's feeling now. So we talked about her going from not being able to lift her little head or her arms or her legs for her whole body being paralyzed. It looks like she's moving well. Do you see any deficits? Obviously, if she's still going to physical therapy, occupational therapy, you're still seeing some problems.
Yeah, so some issues still with swallowing. Still on the thin liquid, she still is. If she swallows too fast or if she's not using the right sippy cup, we can see that she is kind of choking. So still issues there. And then just a little bit of issues with her fine motor skill. Her gross motor skills have come back really well, but like those, itty bitty, kind of holding the things in her hands, you can still see like there's a little bit of deficit there.
Oh, but it looks like she's doing so well. Now let's talk about her future. What are they telling you as far as this condition? Because there is a chance that it doesn't just magically go away forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there is a chance that it can come back and she can have a relapse later on in life, later on in her childhood years. I'm really just praying that that's not her story. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it can. It's basically it's a virus that's in her body. So once it's there, it's there. But I'm just praying that she does not have a relapse. But I'm keeping my eye out if she ever gets sick for it.
Let's ask Dr. Hall a little more about that. For anybody who's ever dealt with this, I have had friends who've had this condition years ago, and they were fearful for a year or two that it would just pop up when they least expected, and they haven't, which has been a huge relief. Dr. Hall, what does that future look like, and how do you I guess, talk to your patients and educate them, not to live in fear, but I guess to be aware of any type of symptom that could come up.
Yes, no, I agree. It's so important to not live in fear. And honestly, it would be extremely rare for it to happen again. So I think Jolie should go on living her best life as she is.
I love it. I saw that look on your sweet mommy face and you brought tears to my eyes. It's like, yes, that's what you needed to hear, right?
Yes. It's
Uh,
always good for her to reassure me.
I want to talk about those siblings. A lot of times when it's just as hard as them on everybody else in the family. Maybe they feel left out, they feel
Yes.
neglected. And how have you balanced that?
It was really tough when I was in the hospital because my daughter thought that I moved there. It's actually funny now because when Jolie goes to therapy on Mondays, she's like, "You're coming home tonight, right?" And I'm like, "Yes, we're coming home tonight." So she still has a little bit of PTSD from us living in the hospital. But now that we're home, it's just a balancing act. They're best friends, so they play a lot together. And it's easier now. But definitely when I was in the hospital, lots of FaceTime got us through it. And then we were able to visit with her outside of the hospital when we would do like the switch offs, but it was very difficult. She did feel left out and she felt like I had moved out. She told people at school that I'd moved out.
Oh no, but it sounds like you have it all pretty much taken care of now, right? You got it all figured out that everything's okay. I'm just looking at a few more of the comments here saying, Deborah, in God's name, she will not have a relapse. That's what I like. The faith of commanding it. No, we are done with this. It is not going to happen. Tony's saying, I touch and agree that it's not her story and portion, but her testimony for the glory of God. It's such a beautiful thing. Francis asking here what virus. And so let's bring in Dr. Hall again. So if you were just joining us, talk more about it's an autoimmune condition. And I have heard this called so many different ways. So we will let you pronounce it for us.
Yeah, so it is called Guillain-Barre syndrome, and it's typically triggered by like a virus. In JJ's case, it was probably a gastroenteritis that preceded it.
Okay, so it starts out as any type of virus at all. That doesn't necessarily matter, right? But it just your body gets really angry about that. It doesn't know what to do. It sounds like your body almost overreacts and then it starts damaging your nerves.
Yes, it attacks your nerves.
Okay. Well, she's doing really well now. And I just think it's so important for us to see stories like this where we see the other side. You've been through so much. You still have a smile on your face, sweet mama. You've kept your faith through the whole thing. You continue with prayer, which is what helps your family. And I think it's important for anybody who's going through a tough time to know and to see that sometimes that really makes a big difference in people's lives. For any parent who goes through something like what you did, so over the first couple of weeks, you kept getting a diagnosis of a virus, which is what it was, but things continued to get worse. What do you suggest to parents when something doesn't seem right? How important is it to keep going back to find those answers?
Yeah, I would just tell parents to trust their gut. I knew something was wrong with her. I knew it during Thanksgiving week. I knew it the week after. And I kept saying to myself, something is wrong with her. This is not just a stomach virus. So I'm glad I trusted myself. I'm glad I continued to follow up and call. I mean, I've spoke to my pediatrician practically every day the week that she was finally admitted to the hospital. So definitely just trust yourself. You know your child, trust yourself.
And let's hear from the doctor. What do you suggest on the medical side of it all when people just can't seem to figure out and they keep trying to go back for help? Does it just come down to finding the right specialist perhaps?
I think sometimes it does come down to that. And thankfully, Jolie had a really great team at Children's Memorial Hermann.
I bet she's not going to argue with that. What do you have to say about your team? So you started out at Children's Memorial Hermann, right? And then ended up going to TIRR where they were able to work some serious magic.
Yes. I'm very grateful to the team there. They were very patient. Her neurologist, Dr. Moody, she explained everything to me in layman's terms. Everyone was throwing me textbook terms and she sat down with me as I was crying on the bed and she was like, here's what's going on. She drew me a picture, so I could really understand what was going on. And she told me, she said she needs to go to inpatient. I know that's not what you want to hear, but she needs to go there if you want her to walk again. So I just said, okay, let's go. Next steps. So then Dr. Hall came over and assessed her and said, we're going to get her over there. So I'm indebted to them. I've told her that they're basically family at this point.
And I know that they feel the same way about you. Ladies, thanks for being here for Lunch for the Soul, for sharing your journey. Thanks to TIRR Memorial Hermann for just all that you do for this community. We are so blessed to have you right here in our own backyard. And we only wish you the most beautiful health for your precious family. Thanks for being here with us,
Thank
Victoria.
you.
Love and hugs from afar.
Thank you so much.
I hope you both have a beautiful day. Thank you for sharing this. And I just want to encourage all of you to join me every Wednesday for Lunch for the Soul. Next Wednesday, we can't get enough of TIRR Memorial Hermann because they do so much. I'm telling you, it's some of the most dramatic health stories I've ever seen. I will introduce you to a woman next week who says there is no way she would be alive if it wasn't for TIRR Memorial Hermann. It is a dramatic story that is going to touch your heart. It's going to touch your soul, which is what it's all about, Lunch for the Soul. I hope you have the most beautiful day. Thank you for being with us. I'll see you next Wednesday, 12:30. Bye-bye.